Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ebi Speaks. My name is Ibinabo Enebi, and today I have my special guests, my daughters, Laura Ibehita, Egogo, and Ihinose Enebi. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. Hey, ladies. Laura, smile now.
I'm smiling.
Look, smiling. What you kill me?
I would just like to start by taking offense to the order in which you introduced us.
What was I supposed to say?
You were supposed to say Egogo Ihinose Laura.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You weren't
Okay, so it's Egogo Ihinose and Laura Enebi. Guys, I'm so happy that you're here today, and I'm just thank you so much for coming to do this.
You're welcome. Like, this has been a long time coming.
I know, right? And guys, I'm so excited. I'm so giggly. I'm just smiling and happy. I'm happy to see all of you together, and I'm happy that we are going to have the conversations that would help people. So like you already know, I have been doing a series on Jakba, which is relocation. And I started with having people give us a general insight of what it is to relocate, the questions you have to ask yourself. And then I did another episode that talked about how to, how to bring up a well-balanced migrant child. And I did another episode on how to become a successful migrant professional. And then I'm doing this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, Laura, I don't like the way you're looking at me. And I'm doing this because a lot of the reasons why people say they relocated, they left their home countries, is because they say they did it for the sake of the children. And now that's why I brought you guys to ask you that, is it fair for parents to put the burden on their children to say, we had to relocate to do the menial jobs, to do the uncomfortable things for your sake? And what is the impact of you leaving your home countries and living abroad? How does it impact you? So I'm just going to allow you lot to handle this conversation. Today, I'm just going to listen to what you have to say. So, guys, take over.
Well,
Okay, you can go first.
I think first things first, we could all introduce ourselves. So as our elder.
Okay, so I'm Igogo. Yeah. And I will say, I don't know, because like initially when I first moved here, I won't lie, I didn't really like I wasn't happy.
Oh, let's say your name, your age. What do you do?
But
okay.
Yeah, I'm Igogo. I'm 20 and 22. I'm 26. I'm 26 and I moved here in 2014. So I've been here for like 9 years. And yeah, what else do you want me to say?
What do you do?
Yeah, I work for Facebook. That's what I do. Okay, now back to what I was saying. When I first moved here,
I'm Ihinose.
right?
You guys are not serious.
I'm Ihinose. I am the second daughter, third child. I'm 23 and I'm a clinical scientist. Yeah, and I live in Dublin.
That's why I wanted us to say what we do.
That is why I wanted us to say.
You couldn't wait to tell everybody that you're a clinical scientist.
I'm a clinical scientist. Okay, and our youngest, Loris.
I am Laura Enebi. I am 13 years old and I draw sometimes.
She also goes to school.
But mostly the other.
Third is all you.
Affirmative.
Why is this thing shaking? So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess first up, like, tell me about, your experience moving to Ireland, because I think even though we're all sisters, we have diverse experiences and like thoughts on this topic, which I think is so crazy, but you go first.
Yeah, I think my experience is kind of different from you guys' experience.
For sure.
Like you guys were here for longer than me. But when I first moved here, honestly, I didn't like it. Like I was very angry at everybody. I know like everybody remembers this. I was a very angry person because I was happy in Nigeria. I had a good life. I had a good life. I actually had a good life. And then it brought me here, but at the end of the day, like I'm really thankful because being here opened the doors for me to just have like so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had if like when I was in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, I know that like it was for the best, but it was an uncomfortable experience initially, but like I'm thankful for it. That's like one thing I'm really thankful to my parents for.
And I know, so as we'll find out further on in this conversation, my reasons are like, I guess I couldn't really say, oh, this is the reason I came to Ireland, because I've, lived here and I've lived in Nigeria kind of back and forth, which again is totally different from my Gaga's experience. Like the reason you came here, like, what would you say?
Guggy. That's what I want to.
Guggy, okay. So like, for instance, Guggy came here for school, like initially, to go to school and all that stuff. And I also came here for school, but I've also been here before. It's kind of like, it's just a very different experience. And I think also with Laura, very different. Like some of us, we grew up here. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to phrase it. We grew up here. And so coming back for school didn't seem like the craziest thing to do. But then as somebody who had like more experience, I will say before than me and Laura in Nigeria than in Ireland, how would you say like the adjustment to moving to Ireland was?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it was difficult initially because I had a good life and then just moving here. Like I moved here at 17 and then I had to go to like SS2. Like I went into SS2 when like it's just hard to move to a school in SS2 when everybody has already like formed their friendships and like formed their cliques and like you just go and join the school. It was like
especially
very
after graduating already.
Exactly, especially after graduating from secondary school in Nigeria already and then moving back to SS2. First of all, I was already very angry that I had to go back to SS2 after graduating when all my friends were going to college. And then like just it was a difficult transition, but like I said, like it's just one of the things I'm really thankful for because I wouldn't have had the opportunities today that I do today if I didn't do that. I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you feel like you missed out on like growing up in Nigeria? Like you feel like you missed out?
Yes, I feel like I say this all the time. Definitely. So I moved. I've also been here for like the last 9 years, although I grew up here and then I moved back to Nigeria. But like firmly, I've been here for the last 9 years and I moved after JS3 in Nigeria. And like Guggy, I would say I was having the time of my life. I was having the best time ever. School in Nigeria was so much fun. It's not just fun. I was learning a lot. I really enjoyed, after growing up in Ireland, I enjoyed being in a place where we were all the same. And I know
like
everybody looks like me. And I think even before I moved back to Nigeria, that's something that I always used to say. I'm like, I would like to live somewhere, where everybody is like me. And when I was in Nigeria, people can be mean, girls will be girls, teenagers will be teenagers. But I'm like, it's not because of the color of my skin. If they don't like me, it's because of my character. They don't like something deep within here. It's not just, oh, she's Black, let's other her. So that's an experience that I really enjoyed about living in Nigeria. And I think that it also showed me that people in Nigeria are just like people everywhere else. And I know as Nigerians, if I say this, it sounds like the stupidest thing ever, because obviously people in Nigeria are just like people everywhere else. But like you see abroad, I guess sometimes, and especially when I was growing up, they're like kind of jobs that you saw people in. There were some jobs that you knew maybe you wouldn't see as many Black people in. And there were some jobs where you're like, okay, this is dominated more by migrants and Black people and people of color. Whereas in Nigeria, all jobs were dominated by
By Black people.
by Black people. So there was no like hierarchy based just on that. It wasn't like, oh, you're Black, so you have to do this job. It's we can do any jobs. So coming back to Ireland, I think I had a more empowered standpoint because I was like, oh, I'm just as good as any and everyone else. And coming from Nigeria, it was a little bit like I'm just as good, maybe even a little bit better, because you know we have that extra pep in our step, you know. But Laura, now you have a totally different experience. Totally different experience. Do you want to tell me something about that? Okay. I'm sure Laura will be back very soon. But like also, so when we came back to Ireland, we went to a boarding school, which nothing could have been more shocking. Nothing could have been more shocking. We're in a new country, we're in a new school, and then it's an entirely new environment. So how did you find starting a boarding school in Ireland, especially as somebody who went to a boarding school in Nigeria as well?
I think the most shocking thing for me was the food. And oh, I wish mommy was here. But she lied to me. Like I asked her, I was like, oh, what's the food like? She was like, oh, don't worry. There's jollof rice. Like they give you jollof rice, they give you eba, they give you pounded yam, like, and then I got there and like I think the first meal I had there was dinner, and it was just like this pasta that looked like jollof spaghetti. I was like, okay. And then I tasted it, and it was not
jollof spaghetti.
It was not jollof spaghetti. It was something else.
Something else entirely.
Sorry, guys, the internet was acting up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to have question sessions. Yeah, so. Hello, girls, are you here?
You put them on mute, Pip.
I did?
You did.
Did I?
It's okay. We're back.
It's okay, we're back.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say.
even the curriculum is very different. The teaching styles are very different. Like in Nigeria, the teacher will just like write the note on the board and then you just copy what the teacher writes. But then here they just like talk and expect you to take notes, and it's really difficult for me to do that because I'm like, I don't know. Like you just take notes of the important things, and I'm like, I don't know the important things. I'm
like before we were just writing everything.
Like in Nigeria, you write your notes and then you submit your notes and the teacher will mark your notes. But here, like you just have your own jotter and you just like write things down. And I don't think I ever submitted any.
And we're very textbook based.
Yeah, except they give you assignment and you just like submit that online. So it was a very, very, but I think it was really good that I did that because it prepared me for college. Because if I just went straight from like secondary school in Nigeria to college here, I think I might have struggled a bit because it would have just been very difficult to adjust. But because I had like went to secondary school, and because it was secondary school, there was room for me to like make mistakes. Obviously, there was times that like, I just didn't submit. I just struggled with submitting my assignments. I struggled with like using the what's it called? What's the thing called? Schoology.
Oh, Schoology,
like,
yeah.
It's like Moodle. Like there were times I struggled with that, but because I was in secondary school, like there was a lot of grades, like teachers were willing to help. Whereas in college, if I was struggling, like it would have been difficult. It would have been more difficult for me to get help because like they just think you're in uni, you should know these things by now. So yeah, it was definitely an experience, but I got through it.
That's interesting. Now I know Laura has a totally different, like everything we've said, prepare to hear something totally different because Laura's experience, even at just this 13-year-old girl, she's got some words for us today, I'm pretty sure. So tell me, what was your experience moving to Ireland the most recent time?
Sadness.
Joy.
Like when I was in Nigeria, I felt constant sorrow. It was hard transferring from primary school in Ireland to primary school in Nigeria. Because like I will say primary school in Ireland is easy compared to primary school in Nigeria. However, primary school in Ireland is easy compared to primary school in Nigeria. Like the curriculum is so different. We were in 6th class, we were learning long division. And in 5th class, we were also learning long division in Nigeria. We were learning long division in 3rd class. So coming back, it was like they were teaching me the things I was learning in 5th class, but I didn't know anything that we were learning in 3rd class, the class that I was currently in. So I found it impossible to keep up with anyone The only benefit, it made me better at 5th class math, but I still struggled with math in 5th class. So it wasn't even like, oh, it was all worth it because I could do long multiplication. I could not do long multiplication. I had a base level knowledge. Like, you could have showed me a YouTube video on long multiplication and that would have given me the same head start that I had on the rest of the class. Just needlessly difficult.
And what would you say, like, culturally? What were some culture shocks you felt like you experienced?
Okay, just take this with a grain of salt. Adults should be respected, right?
Yeah.
The kind of respect you want is sometimes befuddling. Like, I'm talking to you and you don't want me to look you in your eye. In Ireland, I used to get in trouble for not looking teachers in their eyes. It was a bit, in Ireland, the teachers were never really, they were on you about certain things, which was annoying, but in some things they just didn't care about. Like, if it was a break and you didn't want to finish your food, that is your issue. That's between you and your lunchbox, whatever. In Nigeria, it's like they care to an extent that I'm not used to about things that I would think inconsequential, but evidently it's very consequential. So it was just hard.
Yeah.
And do you feel like moving here made you like miss out on the opportunity to form connections with, like, do you wish you were more Nigerian? Long story short, like, do you wish you were more like,
although you're very Nigerian.
Yeah, very Nigerian, but do you wish like you had more experiences living in Nigeria and like just forming more connections with like Nigerian kids your age?
Maybe, but like,
yeah, it's okay to say that.
I was born in Ireland. I grew up in Ireland. I have Irish friends. I never really got the chance to be like in Nigeria. I was too busy being sad to miss out on connections with Nigerian kids. Like, cool, I had friends, but sorrow. These exams are hard. Why are we taking exams in 3rd class? Why is it taking 2 weeks? It was just.
Wait, 2 seconds. By the way, just in case anybody is confused, Laura has lived here like for most of her life, but then she went to Nigeria for 1 year. So like that's why she keeps on referring back to her experience in Nigeria. Yeah, just continue.
It was difficult, and I was too wrapped up in that difficulty to like think of anything other than, okay, yes, this is hard, but I'm making new friends. I'm having new connections, or I was just so focused on leaving as soon as possible.
And do you feel like the connections you were able to form with your friends in Nigeria were deeper than the connections that you form with your friends here? Because like, I don't know, there's something about like being friends with Nigerians. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think like your friendships were like deeper because you guys just understood each other on like a different level? Because you were from the same country, you have like shared experiences. For example, like with your friends, I know that like it's easier for me to make friends with Nigerians because we can relate on like so many other things, like the way your parents, like having African parents, the way your parents act. Just like there's some things that like only Nigerians can understand. Do you understand? So like it just makes the friendships deeper. So do you feel like when you were making friends in Nigeria, the friendships were more
I hear that, but like when I was in Nigeria, I was 9. And when I was 9, I personally didn't care. If I wanted to talk to you, I would talk to you. And we're going to form a conversation. Like, it was just easier to talk to people because I was so young. But take this with a grain of salt. I don't talk to majority of the friends I made in Nigeria. However, I do feel like I formed a deep connection with the Nigerians I met in Ireland because we had even more to relate on. But the Nigerians I met in Nigeria, I almost feel like I was different from them because they didn't like me because two people in the school liked me. I was Irish. I had an Irish accent. The prefects thought I was interesting. The teachers thought I was interesting. If I put up my hand up in the class, my teacher would tell the girl that I was currently talking to stop talking because I wanted to sit. Like, they just didn't like me. And it was word said because I live in Nigeria and then suddenly this girl comes in with her fine accent and now everybody wants to talk to her. I would have
not fine accent.
I would have actually got some
Yeah, no, that's the same thing that happened to me as well. So I can I think you and I can relate a little bit in that I went from primary school in Nigeria. I went from primary school in Ireland, 5th class or primary 5, and I went straight into my second semester in JS1 in secondary school in Nigeria. And it was a very interesting experience because my very first day of school, the principal invited me up on stage to introduce me to the whole school.
I'm like, they never do that.
That's not a thing that
I wanted it was new because I was also new in the same school and nobody cared.
Nobody invited her, introduced her in front of the whole school. They said, like that scene in Lion King. They said, "This is your new classmate." Everybody,
this is
look
new
at
person
her.
that just came from abroad.
Anytime we had a student that was like, say in the middle of the year, a student would be coming to look at the school to see if they wanted to go there. Bro, I could be in the middle of an exam and they'll pull me out. Oh, they come. And they're like, okay, talk to her. What? Talk to her, tell her about the school. And use your accent to make sure you speak well. I was like, oh, hi, my name is Ose. And I'm just like, am I supposed to add extra? Am I supposed to, like, what's really supposed to, be going on right now? And like people would want to, same experiences. They'd want to hear me talk. They'd want me to go for things that the school is doing and like be at the forefront, regardless of my knowledge level, my ability, capabilities, what I'm getting in scores. It's just like, oh, you're from abroad. Okay, go to the front. And I think that in the beginning, it had the potential to also make me quite disliked, but thankfully I had a guardian angel somewhere in the school. And also, I don't know about you, Laura, but I was actually just a very likable person. People couldn't hate me for very long. So I overcame.
I want you to know, later you'll be suffering for that comment.
So I overcame a lot. I actually overcame a lot. But then that's why leaving that school was so hard. Yeah, by my 3rd year there, I was still experiencing the trials and tribulations of, just happening to be a Nigerian person from somewhere else. I also feel like I was othered a lot. Even the most recent time I went to Nigeria and I was working in a hospital. And, I don't know how much you know about this, Laura, but I know Galik can know what I'm talking about. A new food joint opened up in front of the restaurants. A lady that they're pounding fresh pounded yam every morning. And everybody in the house, me, pounded yam is actually my favorite food. So when all my colleagues were going to go and buy their, 100 naira, whatever, this, that, me too, I went. I was like, yeah, let me buy some pounded yam. And I sit down and all my colleagues, Ose, you've come to eat pounded yam. What are we doing to you? And I was like, what do you think I eat at home? I'm like, even if I'm Irish, my parents are Nigerian. They said, oh, sorry, we thought you eat pasta at home. And they were being serious. Nigerians, we have a way of looking at our fellow Nigerians when they come from somewhere else and like their Nigerianness is suddenly gone and it's replaced by the otherness. And I'm like, no, we're all still one and the same. I have a different accent, but my heart is still here. And I still love all the things that make us us.
Good. Spell.
Whatever.
Speak your truth, girl.
No, it's this one. Get in, girl. But yeah, so leaving school in Nigeria, I remember I was very excited about it because I had known prior to leaving that I would be leaving. And I had talked about it with mom and I had talked about it with, not really with dad, but I had talked about it with mom. I knew that I was leaving. I knew what school I was going to. And I actually felt like I was quite involved in the process of, leaving and moving to Ireland. But how did that feel for you? Because I feel like a lot of the conversation around migrants and moving to different countries and the parents saying that they're doing it, for the future of their children. But a lot of parents, and I know it's not always practical to do this, but a lot of parents don't actually maybe talk to their children about how they would feel about leaving, the country and the only home they've ever known and all the family and all the people and essentially their support system to go to somewhere else that they don't know. So I felt, because I had lived in Ireland before and because I was involved in the process, moving was still a tough adjustment, but I was prepared for it because I knew that it was coming and I kind of knew what to expect. Do you find that you had the same experience?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the most difficult part of moving? The most difficult parts was leaving my friends and my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like just from because when we used to live in Nigeria, like every Sunday we'll go and like visit my grandma, we'll go to my cousin's house. Like I had my friend, like where we
had uncles 10 minutes away.
Yeah, like I had my neighbors that were my friends. It's like everyone just kind of separated. And that's like the really sad thing about everybody. Like even when I go back home now,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. Like most people have moved, and it's just really difficult. So the most difficult part of moving was like leaving my friends and knowing that this is the end of an era. And things are never going to be the same again. Like even when we come back, like all of us will never be around at the same time, and just I think that was the most difficult part about moving.
That's very fair. I think moving was genuinely very difficult for me as well in that same regard, because coming from living in Ireland the first time around, where it was mostly me and my mom and my brother, and obviously that was great because up until then it's like the only thing that I had a conscious memory of. But then moving to Nigeria and becoming immersed in the culture and immersed in my family and having a grandmother that I can go and see. Obviously, I always had all these people, but actually being in the proximity to be able to go and see them every Sunday. And if I need something, like every class party, every social event, we went to Ajifa's house to go and shop in her closet and find an outfit. If it's not shopping in her closet, she's taking us somewhere. Like we really had family that we knew had our backs. And I think that having that community, I feel like it gave you a better sense, me personally anyway, a better sense of value and a sense of worth, because I kind of understood and I was able to see how deeply I was loved by people around me. And even though so from when I was leaving, from when I knew that I was leaving, I was already crying. Even before any flights were booked, I was already really sad because on a level, I kind of understood what I was going back to. I said, we have phones and we have this and we have that, but it's never going to be the same again. I'm not going to be immersed. I'm not going to be completely engulfed in this love all the time.
And like we even kind of had it good in a sense, because at least like we all moved together. But there are people that like move and they leave their parents, and there are people that like move to different countries and their siblings. I know people that like some of them are in Ireland, they have siblings in Canada, they have siblings in America, like the whole family just happened. And their parents are in Nigeria and like all their friends are just all over the place. So it's really, really, it's really, really hard. That's why they need to fix Nigeria. That's just I know. Sprinkle.
And Laura, obviously I would love to bring this back to you, but I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say. You can say it anyway, but you were happy to leave Nigeria. You were leaving Nigeria wasn't tough for you because sorrow.
You know what? I was angry. About things. I wasn't involved in the process of moving there, and I wasn't involved in the process of moving back. And also, something I will hold against everybody in this place. They told me I was going on a holiday.
It's happened to all of us. It happens to the best of us.
It's just something I hold against the game. The game is the game.
The game is honestly the game. It happens. I speak the truth, girl. Don't let anybody on the side silence you. We can see you looking to the side, look into my eyes.
I wasn't really involved in the process of anything. You know what I mean? Like, I was sad. I missed my homies. And then my dad was like, okay, we'll move you back to Nigeria. Sorry, we'll move you back to Ireland. And 6 months later, lo and behold, I was still in Nigeria. So I just always assumed everyone was lying to me, It was like...
No, but that's a different perspective as well. And I think that's very valid. Because people often don't think about what children are thinking. They think that children will just accept what you tell them. And they don't think that, this girl is actually having some of her own thoughts in the back of her head. And every time you tell her something, she's thinking...
Now that I'm deep in it, right? When I was in secondary school in Nigeria, the angriest people, like when I tell you, the angriest people were always the kids that came from abroad. Them kids that came from abroad and their accents and their parents would just tell them, we're just going for Christmas, and the next thing you know, and the boarding school was been saved. Bro, there was one boy in my class, the teacher was scared of him, like everybody. I shouting at everybody, she was like, no, you know you. You know you, sir. She was like, making a shot, like, no, you. I don't want to say it, but she was like, no, you know, because like literally once this boy gets angry, like he was just so angry all the time because like his parents didn't tell him he was moving to Nigeria. They just brought him for Christmas, and next thing you know, he's in the boarding school in the States. So like yeah. And I'll say that really does affect the child sometimes. Sometimes like it always turns out like at the end of the day, it turns out to be like a very good experience for them because there are people that like obviously when they first came to the school they were angry, but like by GS3 they had gotten used to it and like, it was a good experience. So I guess it's like a two-sided thing.
It's a two-sided thing, obviously. But again, I know that wasn't your experience, girl. So you know, you can exactly. And I guess since you weren't involved in the process, but how did it feel? Okay, I know that you weren't happy in school, but this is not just all about school. It's about life in general. You know, you were surrounded by your family. I know cousins. Your favorite aunties.
Yeah, enjoy the Nigeria. Don't come on,
let's not catch.
Fine. You have me.
Don't lie.
That's me.
We got you.
Yeah, you like wouldn't it be nice like just bonding with your family, having like unlimited access to your aunties. Big mommy really, really spoilt you. She really, really like you had a good time. So like how was that?
That was all fun and well. That was all more enthusiasm. That was all fun and well. That was so much. I love my aunties. I love my aunties so much. It was fun seeing them all the time. What? Sorry. I love Big Mommy Kunle's mommy. I love her so much. If you're watching
it with your whole heart, because I was there when she was ordering you moi, do your hair
in the morning, thinking about how much I love you.
I'm feeling Laura juice. I shout that Kunle that Kunle knows that Laura doesn't like this kind of juice. Wow, Laura, you actually
like a little princess. So I feel like
Mama, even in a bird.
I felt loved, but I feel like I felt love in a different way than you got. Like you were talking about, shopping at Billow's closet, I shop it at Jiffa's closet and going to their house all the time. That was cool. That was nice. But you gotta understand, it was so different for me. Like I felt loved, but I also felt very alone sometimes. Like you had your siblings with you all the time. You hung out with Guggy every night, and I know sometimes they didn't like each other because you're sisters, and sisters don't always love each other, or sisters always love each other, but sisters don't always like each other all the time. And like I know that was tough, but like when parents are being annoying, and parents are always annoying sometimes, then love you with my whole heart, but you know how it is. So you can still like go over and talk to your sisters like, get a load of this injustice that has occurred upon me on this day, and you kiki about it and giggle about it. I didn't really have anyone I could do that with.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's valid.
That was very valid.
That's very valid. Honestly, I hear that.
I hear that deeply. So while you were living in Nigeria, you felt like the loneliness. And that's very interesting because you know what? Those are feelings that a lot of people who leave Nigeria and move to other countries often feel like in their first few months or even like their first few years living in the new country, leaving their community and their family and everything and going to a new place that's usually much colder, so it's a climate you're not used to. You don't have anybody that's with you. And I find that a lot of migrants feel lonely and isolated, and they have a hard time making new friends, and like they miss home a lot. But it's interesting that that's a feeling that you had when you moved to Nigeria. But I guess that's because in a way we could say you actually, even though you're Nigerian, you migrated to Nigeria. But yeah, so the feelings that she felt when she moved to
Nigeria, or the feelings I felt when I moved here, because I definitely felt lonely, and I just felt like I couldn't form any actual connections with anybody because like I felt like I got here too late.
Yeah.
But like by the time, not necessarily that I got here too late, but like just going to school.
Yeah, school-wise, definitely.
Yeah, going to school, I just felt like I got to that school a bit too late. It was just hard for me to like blend in
and make like meaningful connections. To be honest, I felt the exact same way leaving. Oh, I think we can't hear you if you're saying something to us. No? Okay. I felt the exact same way when I first moved back to Ireland, even though this has been my home, this is the land, in which I grew up. When I came back and I made friends, I think a personality trait that I have that I get from my mom is that I'm incredibly outgoing and just like very personable. Like I think I have a good personality. So I was able to be outgoing and people liked me, but I found it very difficult to form meaningful bonds and to actually like relate to people, like people that I went to school with. And I was living with them day in, day out, And if you asked anybody, yeah, no, Ose is great, this and that, but I wasn't forming any meaningful bonds. I still felt very sad and very lonely, like a majority of the time. And I thought that was very crazy because I said, I'm back in this country. Like I've been here before. This is where I grew up. Why am I suddenly feeling like this again? That's so crazy. And I think that for the first time, I had experiences where I kind of felt like a little bit unwelcome. I don't know. Did you ever feel that way? And if the answer is no, that's really
maybe
cool.
there were times that I was definitely unwelcome, but I didn't really pick up on it because I wasn't really trying to form any connections with anybody anyway. I just kind of stayed on my own. So even if there was like any form of that, I just didn't notice because I didn't care.
That's cool. I think you were maybe able to do that more than I was because you knew that you just had that year and the next year, whereas I knew that I had like 5 years. And like it was gonna be a tough few years if I didn't buckle down and make some connections. But I think the trying to make connections is also something that made the whole experience so exhausting for me. Like I would have been so much happier if I had just, girl, I don't even know what I would have been happier if I did. I just knew that it was a tough experience. Experience. But even though like moving was hard and adjusting was hard, like what brought you joy? Maybe in your first few months here or like your first year here, what did you discover about this new country that you were like?
Unlimited Wi-Fi. I was actually so happy when I first got. I was like, you mean I can watch like YouTube and everything for as much as I want, and like nothing is going to happen. Yeah. Like I can just So that was.
I would say I'm actually the same. I was on my phone, like I would be awake until 7 a.m. the next morning watching movies. I watched every movie that exists because I was like, you can watch two and another one and nothing is gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that
was so nuts.
Everything else is.
Yeah. So girls, I want to ask you this question.
Sure.
And assuming there are parents watching us today that are planning to make the supreme sacrifice. And when I mean supreme sacrifice, I'm not saying death, but supreme sacrifice in the sense that they want to sacrifice themselves on the altar of opportunities for their children. What would you say to such a parent? Secondly, if there is a young person who's left their home country to come to a foreign country to live, what would you say, what were some of the things that you learned in your journey into becoming that can help them to become, excuse me, something just wanted to choke me. Sorry, like, oops. So what would you say to them? What are the survival kits that you have acquired in your journey into becoming that you can say to the young person, hey, look, don't worry, everything will be fine? Like, what are the things that you can say to them?
I don't really think there's nothing to be a survival kit. I feel like, obviously when you first move here, it'll be tough, but there's so many Nigerians everywhere. So you make friends, you form a community, you'll be fine.
But see, I agree, but a lot of people are not going to see that right off the bat. There's been a lot of times, even since I've moved to Dublin, that I've been in town. I think because over the past few years, I've really been thinking about this experience a lot, like of moving. So like there'll be times that I'm in town and a lot of Black girls that I walk past, I always smile because why not, right? And I always smile, and sometimes I strike up a conversation inspired by you and how you met Maureen at the bus stop. I do strike up a conversation. And there's been many people that I've met who have told me things like, oh, I just moved here, like I've been here for 6 months. It's just been raining. I've not seen any other, I've not made any friends. I've just been going to work, or I've just been going to school. I don't like, and they're stressed. The only time they see other Nigerians is when they go to Moore Street to buy something. So I think that eventually it does come, but it can take a long time. And depending on your reason for moving, it's harder. So if you move for school and you move in university, then you'll be blessed because you'll have things like the Afro Society and those kind of things.
And you're just meeting other people in school
and meeting other people in school than Nigerian. But if you move just as a part of life, you move to start a job, you move with your family. It can be very hard not only to meet people, but to make friendships. Because even so, you as a new person in the country, you seeing another Black person, you'll be like, oh my God, but they're not going to feel that way seeing you. They're not going to be as excited to be your friend as you might be to meet them. So it does come in time, and it requires a lot of putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
one thing that Nigerians are not very good
at.
Yeah. Because even in Nigeria, worse, like everybody just goes to work and then church on Sunday. Like, nobody really has like you wouldn't go parties. Or, like all these other little random activities that people. So when Nigerians move here, they kind of do the same thing, and it just like makes them very isolated. I think like before you move here, kind of maybe see if you can. I'm going to see if you can meet people on Facebook, but actually don't do that. That's a bad idea. But just try like join a community, like maybe go to church, like find your church. And there's a lot of youth churches. Yeah, start from there. Or I don't know, just like find a hobby. Join the gym, find a hobby. I feel like finding a hobby is
there's something that a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of societies, like if you are, whatever your tribe is, look on Facebook. I know she said don't try to find friends on Facebook. It's true. But look on Facebook for the My Tribe Community Ireland. And you can start from there, because that's really a thing that really, really surprised me. Like, it's a thing that exists.
But I don't like this type of thing.
I don't like that either, but you can start from there.
Force then, because you're like going there to find someone. Like, even if you meet someone and you start talking to someone from there and you don't really like care for them like that, but you just kind of.
I know, but if it's a person that's already lived in Ireland, and sorry, I'm gonna bring in some very hip and young excuses, mom. Sorry, hip and young examples. So, mom, if you could close your ears, because I'm not trying to. Thank you very much. So, like, say you go to like whatever the Ewohimi society meeting, and you meet a young person, and you don't become besties with them, but like they take you out once or twice. They take you to DLT. They take you to Vela. They take you to, what I mean. And then you don't have to become besties with that person, but you meet other people.
Yeah, I'm actually going to meet a young person in the
You guys are not serious. They're still blocking my ears, like. Okay, but Gogi, but do you know what I wanted to say about the communities, right? Like my dad used to say that whenever you go to a place, always endeavor to connect with your people in your communities, because somehow you may not gel with everyone, but in the pack, you can come across one or two people that can be your lifesavers. Like even as I am here in Ireland, I have some Rivers sisters that I connect with that have been stabilizing factors for me. We may not see all the time, but to be able to get somebody that you speak the same language with, it's very important, I think. But Laura, you have another perspective to it. What did you want to say?
Well, it's like my main focus in school wasn't really meeting Black people, because it's a tiring and unnecessary, like it's a fruitless journey trying to make Black friends in primary school in a small town in Ireland. I remember I was the only Black girl in my class for like 5 years, and then there was one black girl that transferred to my class and I didn't like her. So Mom, stop making that face, okay? You know the lore. They do not know the lore, okay? It's okay. There was one Black girl that transferred to my class.
You didn't get along. That's what you say.
Yeah, but I didn't like her.
Yeah, but you didn't get along.
We didn't get along because I didn't like her.
We didn't like each other.
It's okay not to like people. And Laura, I actually love what you're saying, which is, I think Gogi and I started talking about, we started going down a little bit of a different route than what we were originally talking about, which is like, what advice would you give somebody that's moving to Ireland or to Nigeria or moving away from their home? What would you give a child, another 12-year-old, another 10, 9-year-old? And then what would you want parents to keep in mind also when they're just uprooting their kids?
Let me just say, I'm completely unqualified and I'm no professional. I feel like I do this because I'm 13, but I'm gonna start talking like I am a professional. So keep that in mind that I'm actually not one. George, you feelings, very profound feelings. Mm-hmm. Feelings will wrap themselves around your child and make it harder for them to focus on certain things. And it's gonna. Your main goal, the child, right? The child in this equation, your main goal should be talking to people you like, doing things you like, doing things for you, like just enjoying the life around you. Don't reminisce on the past before. Don't reminisce on what could have been. Don't reminisce on what was. Focus on what is and find things you like. Because I wasted so much time thinking about, if I didn't move in second class, they didn't transfer me to fourth class, and I would have known what I was supposed to know in third class. No, because I'm in third class now. I don't know what I'm supposed to know. Let's get a move on. I wasted so much time being sad about it. And I didn't waste time being sad, because sadness is an emotion. You can't waste time on your emotions. You can only feel them. But so much things would have been better for me if I just buckled down and said, okay, it is what it is. Then again, right? Parents, I can tell myself to buckle down and that it is what it is. Coming to adults and saying, I'm stressed about this, the response a child is going to want is not going to be, this is the situation that you found yourself in. So it's good advice, but keep in mind, you're talking to a 9-year-old. My prefrontal cortex isn't even trying to fully be formed yet. Like, she's not even making an attempt. You talk to me like you're talking to a chat, like I'm not fully considerate. I'm not fully considerate of all my circumstances. I'm not thinking of the bigger picture. How can you ask a 9-year-old to think about the bigger picture? For me, I remember distinctly when I was 9, one of the main issues in my life was changing my favorite color from pink to blue. And I went to my teachers about it. I was very serious about that issue. I was like, I don't know, it's such a big decision. So you can't ask me to buckle down for things that are going to make or break the rest of my life. You can't. You can't.
Okay, Laura. Laura,
so
can I say this? I think you're very brilliant. And I just love to listen to you talk because I learn a lot from you. Okay, so girls, there's some questions. Let's invite people to leave questions or comments. Like if there's anyone who wants to leave questions, like on Facebook. Are you on Facebook? No?
Oh no, but you can tell us the questions.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read some of the questions. I'll just go get my phone because this is about you. And I must say, you girls are looking amazing, guys. You guys look like I didn't have any makeup or anything.
We get it from our mom.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys look beautiful. You're gorgeous. Yeah, I'm gorgeous.
So pretty. I was just thinking about it this morning. I was like, man, my mom should be a model. And I'm not lying.
You don't look up 2000. I will. Okay, let me just go get the phones and would ask and check through the comments. So guys, if you're watching on Facebook, my page and my profile on LinkedIn and on YouTube, please feel free to leave your comments. And if you're watching via Zoom, feel free, if you want to ask any questions, please feel free to raise your hands up. Yeah. Yes, there are 3 siblings and their moms. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So if you want to ask questions, please just raise up your hands and then we're going to answer the questions for you. Thank you. So, any more questions?
Do you have any questions, Laura?
I do. Ooh, the camera's out of focus now, but I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, it's cool now.
Anyways, if you could have done anything differently or told anyone else to do anything differently, would you?
Honestly, I kind of want
listened
Mhm.
or made anyone else do anything differently, perhaps.
I kind of wanted to live out my 20s in Nigeria. I feel like I missed out on that because I saw my cousins like just being 20 something in Nigeria, just like, So moving here, kind of always think about what life
What
could have been if I like in that respect. Maybe I'll be married by now. Who knows?
Okay, that's fair. That's valid. Something that I would actually say is, especially for people moving into new situations, like, obviously migrating, moving to a new school, is don't be afraid to be yourself. And I think that Laura will know this because this is something I have crammed down her throat. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself. In any situation, the best person to show.
It's so crazy that you're saying that because all I was afraid to be myself. It was a new personality for every person.
Yeah, exactly. And the best person you can ever show up as is yourself. Because if you try to be like the people around you, which I'm slightly ashamed, but it's okay because I was young, so I can admit it, that when I was in secondary school, yes, I was being a version of myself. I was being maybe the funniest, most entertaining version of myself, but sometimes I wasn't authentically being myself. And when you're not yourself, you don't give people the opportunity to truly like you. And so you don't give yourself the opportunity to truly be happy because you're always in some capacity performing.
Yeah, like shape-shifting.
Like shape-shifting and code switching and being yourself, is just because you code switch, you're able to be a Nigerian and you're also able to function in Ireland. Those are two different things. If you're moving into situations and you're trying to dress like other people, you're trying to do your hair like other people, you're making your voice like other people, you're trying to care about what other people care about, and you're not authentically being yourself, bringing your own actual unique perspective to situations, then you're just doing yourself a huge disservice. And I really, really, really wish that I spent more of my teens showing up as myself, because now I show up as myself everywhere I go. And I don't care what people, okay, let me not lie. I do care what people think, but I think that I have the best social outcomes. I'm happier, I feel more fulfilled, and I feel known and I feel confident because I'm actually just being myself. And now I know that myself is not only good enough, but it's amazing. I'm an amazing person. And I know that because I had the courage and I gave myself the opportunity to just be myself.
I hear that. I feel like I can't do that anymore because somewhere along the way I lost who that was.
But Laura, you are 13. No, not in a oh, you're just a kid way. You're 13. Girl, you're gonna be a different person by the time you're 16. You're gonna be a different person by the time you're 18. And that's not gonna be you shape-shifting or doing anything. You're genuinely gonna change and evolve. That's just part of life. But so don't think, Laura, just in any situation, being polite and respectful, do what feels right, do what you think that you should be doing. Do you think growing up or schooling abroad is better than back home? What do you think?
For me, I think back home was better. But I guess for the quality of education.
No, but okay, so I think the thing is, it's the quality, and the price. So for free education, I think abroad is better. Public schools, typically very good.
And they're free.
But in Nigeria, yes, you can get very quality education, but sometimes it does come with a hefty price tag. So that's why, with the state of things now, I am a bit of an advocate for leaving because, not an advocate, but if, you think that's the best thing for your family, if you have the opportunity, I think that it's great to leave. So academically, schooling abroad is very good, but socially, and culturally, schooling in Nigeria is better. The way to go. I hope that answers the question, but if not, you can expand on it and we'll try and answer that as well.
Does anyone have any more questions?
Yeah. And where is the lady who speaks, Ibi? Hello?
Laura's can't get
out. I'm here. I'm just trying to get some of the things on Facebook, some comments on Facebook.
Okay.
Right. Listen, I'm enjoying what you're doing, and I'm just.
How do you do your makeup?
No, I'm not wearing makeup today. I'm just being me. I'm tired.
Laura,
This is just my natural face. Yeah.
I'm just doing a bit of light blush. And
You are? Should I do makeup?
no, it's actually too late. What?
Yeah, okay. So I have some comments here. We have quite a few people on Facebook watching.
Oh, lovely.
Somebody
Welcome.
says, I'm proud of you. Well, your aunties are all here anyways. Yeah, aunts, I'm proud of you. Lovely conversation. Oh, Gongs, I love your earrings. Oh, my queen Gongs, looking so much like her dad. Special mommy Lagos, I'm jealous. Big mommy, your big mommy. Your dad.
Oh.
Let me see. Yeah, I can't see most of the code. Okay, so Gogi, in terms of
shout out to my aunties, I love you guys still.
yeah, love your earrings. Okay, somebody's like, so that's a question there.
In my personal experience,
Can you read it out?
yes. So, do you advise parents should make the sacrifice of training their children abroad? I think that if it's something that you have the opportunity to do, I think with the way, we're all seeing how things are going back home, I think that if you have the opportunity, it is something that you should do. Something that I've always said to my mom, especially like since I've gone to university and getting older, like I don't let a year pass where I don't tell her thank you and I don't tell her, you were so smart. You are the smartest girl that ever lived. Like what you did was amazing. And it allowed us to do so much. And it allowed us to be independent, to get like quality education. Although there was some sorrow in the beginning, generally it did allow us to be happier and to experience life in a much fuller way, while also maintaining a lot of our culture, because obviously, we have our very Nigerian mom here with us to keep showing us the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add, Mom or Laura?
Let me see if I have more questions for you. Guys, can I just say this? And I know that you'd say, Mom, I feel that I'm so proud of you guys. I'm just so happy to see you all. Laura, please smile now. Okay? Smile. I'm super excited to see you guys. And I'm happy to see, how you have evolved. Gogi, remember when I moved you from after you'd finished secondary school in Nigeria, and I thought it would be nice for you to have the 2 years experience before you went to university, and you just didn't like it at all. And I kind of like feel happy that you now have come into, like, you now understand why I did what I did.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, let's just thank God it worked out in the end.
Oh, which is actually another point that I would say. Sorry, because I don't know if this lines up exactly with what we're talking about, but I think it's also in line with the latest question that was asked about parents making sacrifices. So I'm involved in some charities that help migrants coming into Ireland from other countries for a variety of reasons. And I was recently at an event that was hosted. And so I was talking to parents as, a child of somebody who came to the country. And what I said to her, and when I said it to her, I think that's the first time I also realized it, is that like, there might be a lot of years where your kids are very mad at you. And there's no way around that, and even if it all works out in the end, those years that they were mad at you aren't going to go away. And just because it did work out in the end doesn't mean they're going to forget that they were mad at you.
Yeah.
All that stuff is still going to happen. And as a parent, especially with some of our, core cultural values about how children should behave towards their parents. I'm treading very lightly with my words, Ali. It's a minefield, but it's going to be very difficult to deal with the fact that your kids are deeply angry at you and they don't like living here and they don't like, the new place, and they're just not going to be having a good time for a while. they're not going to be having a good time for a while, and that's going to be very difficult. But as a parent, I would say that something that you should hold on to is that eventually they will see what you saw when you brought them here. And that's not going to take away the anger, and it's not going to make them be like, oh, maybe you were right about the whole thing. Because obviously, as you can see, right in this room, very two different perspectives. But just hold on to that and know that one day they will thank you and they will honor you and they will see everything going on. And like, they'll just know that you made the right decision.
There's a question here.
Ose, as a girl who has schooled both in Nigeria and Ireland, how can one maintain a balance in terms of culture? I think this is a very good question, thank you. I think this has a lot to do with trying to stay true to yourself and not trying to change to fit in with the new environment that you're in. I think you lose aspects of your culture when you try and shapeshift into the people who are around you. You move to a predominantly white country. If you start trying to, oh, I don't like jollof rice anymore. Obviously, I know culture is more than just food, but I don't like jollof rice anymore. I just want to eat pasta. I just want to eat a sandwich. Like, if you really try and over assimilate, you might lose key aspects of your culture and what makes you, part of what makes you unique, because your culture is part of what makes you unique, and it's part of what integrally makes you who you are. Like, it's what was in your house every day when you were growing up. And if you go outside into the world and you just start forgetting those things and losing those things, then you'll lose part of yourself, and you'll also lose a big part of your culture. So I think the best way to maintain balance in culture is to stay close to your family as much as possible, and just don't lose track of yourself. Don't lose track of who you are, your personality. Don't try change for other people. Is your hand up, Laura? Yeah.
Okay. I'm very happy to share this, because something I realized, and I wish I realized it, and I wish I realized it sooner, is accept that you are both. Like, you've lived in Ireland since you were very young. You've also been Nigerian since you were born. You were born in Ireland, you were born Nigerian. You like, accept that you are both. Accept you have Nigerian mannerisms. Accept that you also do things that Irish people do. Like, really don't try to be more one than the other. Just try to exist as both comfortably, because when you strip it down to what it is, that is what you are. A person who is both Nigerian and Irish, and you can exist as both comfortably, or you can have those two sides constantly battling for dominance. And I'm very happy that in recent years, in the last year or so, I have only surrounded myself with people who made me proud to be both Nigerian and Irish. I've only surrounded myself with people who like Nigerian comedy or who are happy to try Nigerian foods. And that's the beauty of having a very multicultural friend group. Like, yes, a lot of my friend group is Irish. A lot of my friend group is white. All of them are accepting. All of them are willing to try new things. And not like, I have a lot of Brazilian, Portuguese friends, Spanish friends, Mexican, like, everybody is so loving and kind and ready to be open to yourself. And back in, I don't know, 4th class, I was friends with a lot of people who were not, who, when I get really passionate about something, my Nigerian accent comes out. And some people were just not having that. They were like, why are you talking like that? Oh my God, that isn't your usual accent. Stop it. And it's like, not even stop, but just like side eye. It's just never surround yourself.
Sorry, yeah.
Never surround yourself with people that make you feel uncomfortable, to have that balance.
I know the Nigerian accent coming out when you're passionate. In secondary school, when we used to talk to each other, to be honest, we felt like we were just speaking normally English, because we can't speak any other languages. And students, like other of my friends, would be like, oh, are you guys speaking English? Like, are you still speaking English? It didn't sound like you were speaking English, which I thought was crazy. And then I also thought it was crazy that they felt the need to point it out. Yeah. Because if two Spanish people were talking to each other, you wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, you guys weren't just speaking English. What were you saying?
Also, can I say something about that? I want to say that, right, that Nigerian English has evolved over time. When I was growing up, we had clean Queen's English. And then we had the broken English, because we had very good schools. But as Nigeria evolved, we began to have the Nigerian English. So we had the standard British English, and then we have the Pidgin English, and then we have the Nigerian English. I was trying to explain this to my students the other day. So for example, in the Nigerian English, you could say, "Oh, I'm coming. I'm going to see you. I'll see you tomorrow." Then the Pidgin English would be, "They come. I will see you tomorrow." But the Nigerian English, for the Nigerian English, we add everything, our Nigerianness into it, our emotions, our hand, movements, and all that. So I will see you tomorrow. I'm coming now. Shabi, I said I will see you tomorrow. So that's the kind of English that you guys have acquired along the way. Yeah, so that's why. So when you're speaking the English, like you're just speaking, you're putting everything plus the shebi and all the ingredients you throw into it. So it's now like a different language.
Yeah.
Aside from the English language, and you have the intonations to go with it.
Yeah. And actually I totally agree. And I think my comment was just more so that it was so straight, like, if you're not a stronger person, or if you're not more comfortable in your skin, even those comments can make you not want to speak comfortably with your siblings or with other like people from your country in public spaces, in predominantly white spaces, because you're like, oh, they're gonna say that I'm talking like this, that I'm not speaking English. You just need to be comfortable to be yourself. And yes, as Laura said, embrace both. Be okay with being both.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think it's very important that we embrace both, because what I find is, which I find very heartbreaking, is a lot of African parents, they like to demonize their countries to their children. And when they're referring to Africa, they say that they're referring to the home countries. They say that country, that is Africa for you. That's that. And it hurts me in the sense that we're not doing our children any service for that. I feel that we should appreciate who we are and where we're from. Because if you look at it really, where is your father's compound? Here. Your father's compound is not here. So I just feel that we should appreciate who we are, embrace our Africanness, and then embrace our Europeanness. Because we can actually be a bridge, right? Because I feel that once we embrace our two sides, then we have a lot more to give. We're more versatile in being who we are. But once we begin to talk down on our Africanness, then I don't think it's nice. I feel that the children then are not balanced. They're not grounded. They're nowhere. They're not. They could be Europeans, but. You know what I mean? But they don't have the ancestral claim in a way. For me, I feel that we should, even if your children haven't been to Nigeria before, stuff like that, they should embrace their culture and embrace who they are. I think it would help them in many ways. It would help with their identity. Yes, you want to say something?
Yeah, being like, you can't point out your father's compound. Now, let me start this off with saying I love being Nigerian. I absolutely love my Nigerian self. I love my Nigerian identity. But when you're a child, like you said, we're both. We're European, we're Nigerian.
Yeah.
When you said that we're both, right? You need to allow your kids to be both. Like, if I want to play an Irish sport, if I want to play camogie, and I'm really into it. Now, granted, I'm not into camogie and I hate everything about it. But if I were to want to play camogie because it's Irish and I'm embracing the Irish culture, that's okay because I am Irish. And in the same way I'm Nigerian, but when your child is embracing the Irish culture and embracing it, it's not the one where you say, oh, so you're acting like them. You're like you're Nigerian. Why aren't you being Nigerian? Because I am Nigerian.
Also sometimes parents demonize the new culture to their children as well. Oh, don't go and start acting like all these children in your class. So you're not like them. Girl.
Well, I don't know. I suppose is the fear most parents have. That they want you to behave yourself properly. Their culture is different. And someone has a question here. Gogi, have you zoned out?
Yeah.
Someone says here, good point, ma'am. If you don't appreciate where you're from, who will do it for you. The other day, I watched an Indian girl singing a Yoruba song so fluently, and the Indians loved it. Okay, so yeah. So, girls, I think we've had an amazing time. And I must say, I really enjoyed it. Somebody on Facebook said they want to see more of this. They want to see more of you on EB Speaks. And it's been an amazing, amazing conversation. And any last words, Laura?
No, but I just thought I would point out, Gogi, you look so pretty. I don't have time to say before the thing, but Gogi, you too, you are looking
I don't like the way
especially
you're
good.
calling Gogi's name. Call her sister.
Sorry, sister Auntie Gogi, you're looking especially good. Your skin is glowing. I can see you
Okay,
shining
girl.
the monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can text us and ask for money later with all these accolades you're trying to throw.
When she wants something,
So I
that's when
can't
she
compliment
For
myself
sure.
again.
Love you. Thank you so much for having us, Mom. This has been very great. I hope it was enlightening. And I hope, people took something from it, because that's what we aim to do.
Exactly. It's really nice to be here. Hopefully we can come back soon.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Next week, I have another exciting episode of EB Speaks, and we're going to be talking about parents and the importance of families relocating together, fathers and mothers relocating together, and how you can bring up your children as a single mother living abroad. So thank you very much. And listen, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. It's Ibinabo Enebi. You can follow me on my social media handles, Ibinabo Enebi Facebook, Ibinabo Enebi Instagram, Ibinabo Enebi TikTok, and Ibinabo Enebi LinkedIn. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye, girls.
Thank you so much.
I'm doing your outro now, Mom.